Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. I'm your host, Krishna, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cupbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going quite well. I am sitting here on a snowy winter day in Mississauga, Ontario, coffee in hand, watching the snow come down out the window. Gonna talk some wrestling. Couldn't be much better. How are you doing?
Yeah, it's we got hit with a I'm not gonna call it a storm. It's just got hit with a I guess 10 centimeters of snow or 10 to 15. It's still falling outside right now. Um,
In my
I
area, it
guess
looks like three.
no, it's pretty heavy and it's still coming down out there. So not it doesn't look crazy like the storm you're getting last Wednesday, but yeah, I mean, I'm okay with snow falling during the weekend if you don't have to go anywhere. But yeah, don't it's bright-ish. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not I don't see too much sun, but it's
Yep.
just gray with all the stuff. And
Yep.
yeah, it's a calm day. Calm
Yeah, I
day.
like calm. I like calm, and of course I've got the one burning question from you because my feeds, I think, are just so customized and my bubble just so complete now that in spite of the fact that I was online a bit this morning, I have no idea who won the Royal Rumble. And I know you watched it last night. So who won that Royal Rumble?
Well, I mean, they WWE as they had the men's Royal Rumble on first. Actually,
Hmm.
it opened up the show,
Oh yeah.
and to no surprise, Cody Rhodes came in number 30 and won at number 30. And it's funny, he eliminated, I guess, Walter slash Gunther. They call him Gunther now, who came in number one. So I'm like, yeah, congrats, dude. You eliminated the guy who came in first. So,
Hmm.
thanks. You came in last, but hey, I wasn't impressed. And as Sam turned to me and said, I don't know if I'm a Cody Rhodes fan. I don't know what it is about him. And I said, it's not that he's terrible in the ring. It's just that he's like one note, right?
Yeah.
And even Sam was saying, and then he goes, I can't picture what promos between Reigns and Rhodes are going to be for the next 2 months because WrestleMania is
Yeah.
2 months away, right?
Yeah.
He's like, all I can see is Cody Rhodes is gonna get on the mic, he's gonna talk about his family, he's gonna cry. I'm like, yep, that's what he
That's
does.
Cody Rhodes,
That's
man.
him. That's him. And he's like, yeah, but it's not good. I'm like, hey, we heard the fans cheer, not as much as they cheered at the end of the show, but there were some
Mhm.
cheers, but whatever. Cody Rhodes won the men's. And not shockingly, but Rhea Ripley won the women's.
Mhm.
Coming in starting in first place. She won the
Oh, that's
entire
cool.
thing. Yeah, she won the entire thing. So
Oh,
that was
that's nice
actually
to see.
pretty cool. And then the big thing, Roman versus what's his name? Kevin Owens. Sami Zayn turned on Roman Reigns. They pulled the trigger on that one. The stadium erupted, and
Oh
then
yeah.
Sammy got absolutely destroyed.
Oh,
Yeah, to the point
yeah.
where the stadium started chanting "F you, Roman." So
Oh wow.
they WWE did their job. I mean, they
Yep.
they they sold it. Like it came down to Kevin Owens losing the match, right?
Mhm.
And then everyone came out. The Usos came out. They handcuffed him. Like they were super kicking him in the face. They were like
Yeah.
smashing him. And then Roman was about to hit him with a chair, and he's like, no. You like Sammy jumped in the way and said, no, you're below this, right?
Yep.
No, sorry, you're above this. He's below you. You don't need to do this anymore. And he's like, yeah, you're right. You do it. This is your last test. And obviously, we knew what was going to happen there. And he
Yeah.
hit him. And then he got absolutely destroyed by the rest of them, except for the one Uso, Jay, who's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "We accept you in the family." And then they were waiting for Jay to come help, and he
Mhm.
stopped. He dropped down and he rolled out of the ring and walked away. And I was
All
like,
right.
"Oh, so the building of that storyline is he going to help Sammy? Is he not?" So they
All
did
right.
a good job in that. The fans went home happy, but overall. Like
Mhm.
from a person who doesn't really watch a lot of WWE, but I watch their pay-per-views with my friends. It's still a bit generic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but guys, before I continue. Sorry, guys, I forgot to talk about the best match of all, the Mountain Dew
Oh,
Pitch Black
the
match.
Mountain Dew pitch black match. Oh, I've got to hear about this. Go
So,
for it.
they entered the ring, LA Knight and Bray Wyatt, and Bray was kind of covering his head for a bit. Then they turned the lights out, but they did it in a way where, how can I felt like I was in a glow in the dark mini putting thing, or maybe you know how they do the Cosmo bowling where they turn the lights off, everything
It's like
glows.
everything's black light.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
glows. That's exactly what it was. So Bray's face was glowing with these, like, the paint he had. LA Knight's trunks were. I'm like, LA Knight. So you accidentally wore those neon green trunks just to show everybody. And they went through a table at one point, and Sam's like, did they put like colored confetti in the table? Because they smashed it, and then all this green confetti just like came out for effect. And I was like, this is a stupid match. I go first, and I go
Wow.
for the fans in the audience. I'm like, what are they seeing exactly? Right? Because the lights are down, and you're literally seeing it's basically glow in the dark. So you're probably seeing LA Knight's trunks run around and stuff like that all
Could you
around, right?
imagine being the guy in the
Oh
rafters trying
my
to watch this match?
God, it was not good. It was not. And then Bray Wyatt and his goons, his Uncle Howdy guy, did a drop from like the top, so this like really high rafter thing.
Yeah.
But you clearly see him miss LA Knight. LA Knight's just lying there. Then he goes through it, and he lands beside LA Knight, which I guess okay is a safe thing to do. He lands beside him, and LA Knight kind of rolls on top of it. So like he clearly missed him, and then they show from different angles. I'm like, yeah, he definitely missed him. Yeah, that was it was stupid. You know what I do like about the Royal Rumble Bill is the mistakes that happen all the time. Kofi messed up again. It's
Oh yeah.
Kofi moment. I turned to Sam. I said, Kofi Kingston always has this thing where he kind of like jumps on something, and he kind of survives, I should say. Yeah, it didn't happen. I guess the plan was he was supposed to he was outside on the ring apron, and Braun was supposed to hit him, or whoever was supposed to hit him, and Xavier Woods was outside holding a chair, but one of those wheelie chairs.
Yeah.
And he turned it, and you see Kofi jump, and he jumps, and they both just like tip over.
Oh yeah, too much momentum. They both fall to the
Too
floor.
much momentum. They fell. And then obviously the announcers didn't know say, because I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was a spot. And
Yeah.
the announcers like, but do we know is Kofi still out? Is he out? He may not be out. And then Kofi never came back. So
He's out.
He's
Yeah.
out. Yeah, a lot of funny, ridiculous things. But
Yeah.
again, nothing that I haven't seen before. Like I swear, I was really I was interested in the Sammy change, but I knew what was going to happen. It's all
Yeah.
been done before, right? It's like here's my problem with WWE. Yes, people are going to say, well, they let this breathe for like 6 months, right? Yeah, they kind of went there because they had to do that. They didn't have to pull the trigger here. They could have went long-term storytelling, right? But they couldn't because they made the deal with the devil, and they said that Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So that's it, right? They don't, even Sammy on an interview says they don't see me as the face of
No, they don't.
WWE.
Yeah,
So
no, they don't. And
yeah,
they never will.
no.
He's not the kind of person that a promotion like the WWE will ever latch the world championship on.
Yeah. And
So
I was telling Sam about, I said, in the independent scene, Sammy Guevara, his name used to be El Generico. And
you mean
he used
Sami
to wear
Zayn?
Sami Zayn, yeah. And he used to wear a luchador mask, and he never took it off. So I don't know when he took it off. I am assuming it's when he came to WWE, but
Correct.
he always wore a mask. And the Young Bucks talk about it, that his name was El Generico. He spoke in Spanish, and he was a nice guy, and we can tell that, right? Kevin Owens was Kevin Steen, and I was just telling him the wrestlers and their different
Yeah.
names as they came in. Chelsea Green made her appearance.
Oh yeah.
And immediately got eliminated. I was like,
Right.
what? Now, the one thing I will say, in the past, the like the surprise entrance, like the legends, like they'd come in and they'd be like eliminated. Not this year. People that came in surprise entrance were eliminated almost immediately. So it looks like Triple H, if he is still running stuff, recognizes you have to push your, like, the people actually that's wrestling for you. And and not, well, I guess I was gonna say notwithstanding Cody Rhodes, but I guess Cody did fight Gunther, who went from number 1 all the way to number, like, the last entrant, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that still counts. But no, it overall, like, I mean, what I think about the Rumble. I hyped it so much for my friends who haven't seen it before. They're like, "What is the Rumble about?" And I'm like, "Oh, you guys can have so much fun." I go, "The Rumble is probably one of the best WWE pay-per-views you watch because the Rumble itself is fun. It's just fun." And then we watched it, and their expressions were like, "Oh, okay, so that's what it is." So Cody won. I'm like, yeah, I guess we kind of
Yep.
saw that one. I told them myself, this is still WWE. That's it.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's
Well,
still WWE.
here's the thing, right? I mean, casino battle royals I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that are much more entertaining than some
Mm-hmm.
Royal Rumbles. I, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Stardom's battle royals are the most amazing thing ever. They do them in the Royal Rumble style, but I got to tell you, I would rather watch Super Strong Stardom Machine come out and do something. And look, again, I just want to point out, like there was a comment made during and we're going to get to what we're here today for, by the way, people,
Mm-hmm.
is a review of Smash Wrestling's Any Given Saturday from yesterday in Toronto. In
Yep.
case you hadn't figured that out yet, we've gotten sidetracked with a bit of Royal Rumble talk, but why we are here is for that. But there was a comment made during the interview segments at the beginning that we'll get to, that about tribalism,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how, people like what they like, and, people can like what they like, right? And I mean, that's, it's very true. And there are a lot of like really hardcore WWE fans out there, and that's wonderful. And, at least they're into wrestling, right? I mean, there's lots of wrestling fans out there, and that's a good thing. Um, I also just think sometimes though that because it's the one thing people associate with wrestling and it's so easy to watch, that a lot of people watch it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Mm-hmm.
because of convenience, right?
Yep.
That there's better products out there that may be slightly more difficult to watch, but you get a lot more bang for your buck. And
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the pun was intended. Um, the yeah, so I really think, like, for instance, yesterday, great show, and we'll get to reviewing it in a moment. AEW, a little tougher to watch in some cases, not really in Canada and the US if you've got cable. If you don't have cable, it's a little tougher to watch. Um,
True.
you know, Stardom, New Japan, it's no different than getting Netflix, and a
Yeah.
lot cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, you get a great package of DDT, Noah, Tokyo Joshi Pro all together for the same price as New Japan, basically. All right. So, I mean, these are really economical ways to watch really good wrestling. They just take a little bit of investment to get into initially, right? That's kind of why we exist. We're trying to help people find these shows, find these wrestlers, find things that they can go and check out as matches that will help them get into it and that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like for me, I'm just not going to waste my time watching WWE events,
Yeah,
right?
and I think it's relatable to everything, right? Like
Yep.
everything in life is relatable too, because it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you have so many options, that you are, by all means, it's your choice, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, no one's gonna knock you for what you like. Okay, great, you like WWE, sure,
Yeah.
but if you haven't given the other products a chance,
Mm-hmm.
then you really can't say it's the best, right? Because you just
Right.
don't know. And that's my thing. Like, for example, like, I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, so I should have loved the Batman movie that came out, right? I should have, but just by everyone saying that you should like it, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I didn't like it, and I might be I'm probably like, you look at the reviews and stuff, like, I might be in the minority, like me and a couple people, but I gave it a chance. It's not like I said, "Hey, you know what? I watched it one time. I didn't like it. Just who knows for what reason." I have
Yep.
actually tried to watch it a
Mm-hmm.
couple times afterwards, and I still have the same impression. So
Right.
that's what I said. Everyone, again, as Bill just said, pointed out, maybe it's not like these different promotions may not be the easiest things and most accessible things to get to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe you just don't know. Again, that's when we're here to like help educate people as well. But you can't just say WWE is the best, and we're not going to say AEW is the best if we didn't see the other products either, right?
Right.
Because that's where we're just making assumptions here. But because we've seen
Mm-hmm.
other promotions, we're able to say, well, these wrestlers are really great, these wrestlers are not, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And by like just from what we've seen, WWE doesn't have to be the be all end all, right? There are
Mm-hmm.
options out there, and as Bill
Yes.
said, this is why we're here, just to help you figure some of those options out.
Yep.
So
To find the elite, whether they're called the elite or we think
yeah,
of them as being elite wherever they may be in the
yeah,
world.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And some of those people, I would argue, were at the Smash show last night.
There are some good wrestlers there. Yeah,
There
you're
was
right.
some very good wrestlers there. So you want to get into our
Let's do it.
review of the show yesterday?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Any Given Saturday came to us from the Rec Room downtown in Toronto. And, Krishna and I, we do the VIP thing when we go. So we get to, do a little Q&A with a bunch of the other fans. And there were a lot of fans there yesterday because they were showing the Royal Rumble free afterwards. You and I left before that. I mean, I just went home because like I said, I'm not going to bother watching the Royal Rumble. I spent too many decades of my life watching WWE. So,
and that's it. Just that again.
Yep.
You didn't miss anything.
No, exactly. So see, I knew I wouldn't, so I'm good with that.
I would, and that's it. Everyone listening, I would tell Bill if he's missing anything. Like I've told him multiple times about the Sami Zayn storyline. I'm like, that's really great. But if I had said, Bill, man, this Royal Rumble was so awesome, you need to watch it. No, it's exactly like I would be lying to you if I'd be like, if it was anything like that.
Right.
So,
and if you actually came to me and said that, I might be prone to go find some highlights. So, but it's got like, there were guys, just to digress again before we get into it, there were guys when I first stopped watching WWE, there were guys going, you should really still be checking it out. This Raw was pretty good and blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, when we get a Raw that based on, and at this point I was listening to a lot of post-wrestling podcasts, that the fans on post-wrestling give better than 4 stars to 3 Raws in a row, I will start watching Raw again.
Yeah.
You know what never happened?
You did say this. I remember this.
Yep. I said, when that happens, I'll start watching it again. It never happened. So, yeah. And it's too late now. I have now given that up as well. I have just have way too much good wrestling to watch that isn't WWE. WWE would have to be the equivalent of a Smash Wrestling show or AEW or something like that for me to want to go watch it now. So.
And I would say at the show, like what, 50%? 60% of the rest of the fans there were WWE fans.
They seemed like, I think a lot of them were there because they were promoting the free Rumble afterwards, right? And it's like you get to watch a bit of wrestling and go to the Rumble. I mean, you saw the Smash Hardcores were there, and then there was a bunch of people that I hadn't recognized at all. And
we watched the previous AW pay-per-view event after the previous Smash show, and it was fun. Like people are there, like the fans are together. So hey, you know what? It's an event that they give you for free. Why not take advantage?
Oh yeah. It's a great idea. No, I love it when Smash does that, whether it's for a pay-per-view I'm going to stay and watch or not. I think it's a wonderful promotional
it's a pretty good idea. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So anyway, the first part, unfortunately, Sebastian Suave wasn't able to talk to us. Sebastian Suave being the main promoter for Smash Wrestling, he wasn't able to because he was busy taking care of some issues that had happened before the show. Unfortunately, the story that we got, and I do not doubt its veracity, was Jake something and the driver were both supposed to be on the show. A border crossing guard decided that American professional wrestlers weren't eligible to wrestle in Canada and stopped them at the border and wouldn't let them cross. So they were down 2 wrestlers to start the show right out of the gate. Good times. Thank you, Mr. Border Guard, for stopping a guy like, I've never seen the driver wrestle, so I can't comment, but Jake something is great.
Yeah, we really we were looking forward to seeing Jake something, and because I was getting ready to yell out something when he asked what's my name, right?
Exactly.
So so yeah, that was kind of disappointment. Anyways, so Sebastian Suave was busy, to say the least.
So out came Casey Andrews, who is a semi-retired, shall we say, as we discovered, semi-retired professional wrestler. He does commentary for them now at Smash Wrestling, and Steve Argintaru. And he is he works with TSN. He's done interviews. He also does commentating for Smash. As he told us, he's interviewed like Mario Lemieux, Alex Rodriguez, guys like that. So yeah, they both came out and talked to us, and it was just kind of an open Q&A. It was really good. I mean, some highlights for me especially were Casey Andrews talking about why he left wrestling. Right, because I asked him that question, what was it like transitioning out of wrestling, and what's the best thing you've learned out of it? And he left wrestling largely because of problems with drinking or loving beer more than he loved professional wrestling, and he was quite honest about it. And I thought that was really, really classy. He was very upfront about the way that kind of took it over, and he wasn't staying in shape, and he wasn't making the right choices and that kind of thing. And you know, the one thing he said is that you know, if you love what you want, you got to drive yourself towards it, essentially, right? And I thought that was just an incredibly great answer. I really appreciated it, and I really appreciated the honesty. And I mean, that kind of response, and he got applause from the audience for the response, right? Which was kind of cool. And it gets highlighted later when we get a comment with Kevin Bennett that was almost the exact opposite. Not Kevin Bennett's comment, but an audience member that we will talk about later. But yeah, no, I thought that was one of the most interesting responses. Also, another highlight was there was a young girl in the audience. Like, I mean, like maybe what, maybe 10
Yeah,
years
I see.
old,
I
I
see
would have
around
guessed.
that. Yeah.
She's, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty terrible at telling children's ages, but I would have guessed 10, with her dad. And her dad had asked, you know, what's the earliest age you can get into training for pro wrestling, and you know, what can you do if before that? And Casey Andrews was telling her, you know, just telling her to eat healthy, get into karate, that kind of stuff. But I thought it was really cool. There was a young girl there who wanted to become a professional wrestler, you know, and her dad's there being supportive of the whole thing. So I thought that was really cool too. But
Yeah.
what did you think of it? What were some
Yeah,
highlights for you?
no, I think it was good. I think like having like Casey Andrews out there answering questions honestly and stuff like that. Like you're right when he kind of said, you know, he's not going to make excuses. As they said right at the top, like, I'm not going to make
Mhm.
excuses. You know, and the fact that he's like, I never want to take them out of it, because you know how many wrestlers say they retire and they're back
Yeah,
the next day.
yeah,
And he says that, you know, yeah, he figured it out when he said, you know, I started just kind of like enjoying beer more than going to the gym and stuff
yeah.
like that, and
Hmm.
getting out of shape, and then getting injured, because I think he points out, like,
Yeah.
if you're not in ring shape, the injuries will just come, right? And I never
Hmm.
thought about that. He's right. um and then answering the question in terms of like, I really like the fact where he said his dad told him when he was younger, when he said he wanted to be a wrestler, that make sure you go to school first, right? Make sure, and
Yeah.
he kind of said that to
Yes.
the girl, you know, make sure you get your education, because you want to have something you can fall back on.
Hmm.
But he did say at the end, you know, but there are reputable schools you can you know go to. But you're right, like sign up for any type of kind of sports. It teaches you discipline and stuff like that, right? You know, get
Hmm.
into that stuff. So it was actually really cool. And then obviously our boy came out, right? Kevin Bennett. So
Yes,
you know,
Mr. Kevin Bennett was up next, the Smash Wrestling champion.
mhm.
Yep. He came out sans crew to start off, did he not? So-
You know, he was clearly putting on a show for us here, right?
oh,
Because
yes.
this is exactly how he is, how he isn't, I should say,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's what, yeah, that was so funny when he said that in the ring later in his promo. It was like, and I had all these guys fooled to think I was a nice guy.
Nice guy.
Yeah, no, but sorry, Kevin, you're a nice guy.
Hmm.
So yeah, no, he came out and you know, he was also answering questions, and you know, he plays along with his role really well. You know, he does find humor in a lot of the statements. I found very interesting too is how he's talking about his family. You know, like
Hmm.
you know, he's got kids, and you know what it's like having to leave them when he does go on the road. And he goes, but I like the point he said. It's not like I'm working for the WWE.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
right. And there
exactly.
is a reputation in the WWE that basically you are going to miss most of your family's lives if you're working for a company, because you
Hmm.
will be on the road like 280 out of 365 days a year or whatever, right? And it is a reason why some wrestlers choose not to go there,
Hmm.
right? It's one of the reasons Mox was quite happy to leave. It's one of
Hmm.
the reasons the Bucks never signed with them.
Hmm.
You know, they have families and they would like to see their families once in a while. So yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. Was that comment? You know, also that if someone asked him who, if he could wrestle any wrestler in the world, who would it be? And he said Jeff Hardy. You know, because
Immediately.
I found
Yeah.
that interesting for a couple
Hmm.
reasons. One was that the way he discovered Jeff Hardy, right?
Hmm.
Because Kevin Bennett's pretty young, right?
Yep.
He said he got into wrestling in 2002, 2003, kind of in that era, right? And you know, he went back and watched a bunch of Jeff Hardy stuff on YouTube, right? And I'm like, man, times have changed, right? So he got into it all from that, and it was just really interesting. He talks about, you know, the big high spots, and that's what really got him into Jeff Hardy. He'd love to wrestle him, and then some idiot in the audience yelled, "Would he have to take a drug test first?" And Kevin Bennett is a totally class act. He completely ignored the comment and just went on talking about Jeff Hardy. And I thought that was because he heard the comment, he looked over at the guy, but he
Hmm.
just kept talking. And I thought that was the classiest thing he could have done because, you know, as we've learned over the last little while, who was it that was, someone had asked Casey Andrews too about mental health and the stigma
Yeah.
on mental health, and if it's easier now to get help, and he was talking about that too, right? And because it's true, it's like Casey Bennett was like, it's like these days, to ask for help, you're almost seen as a hero because it's such a big step to take. In the old days, you had to be the toughest guy in the room, right? And it's not like that anymore. And it's like we're in an environment now where getting help for mental health difficulties, getting help for addictions is the right thing to do, right? Look at John Moxley. I mean, there is your poster child right now of getting help for addictions these days, and came back cleaner, stronger, more powerful, and doing his thing, right? And that's great. And to make comments about people who have had struggles and had difficulties, I mean, really, what are you doing? Like kicking a guy when he's down? Oh, ha ha, let's make fun of his addiction. Okay, really, dude? Really? Anyway, um, I thought that was pretty classless myself, and it really belongs in a forgotten era. Like that sounds like something the audience would yell in the Attitude Era, to be quite frank. But anyway, to go back to Kevin Bennett, no, he was a very classy guy, very nice guy. Totally chill about talking about all the stuff. He emphasized he's not just a professional wrestler. His other day job really is doing music. He talked about some of the cartoons and animated shows he does music for. There's a particular YouTube channel whose name escapes me that he does the music for. I was impressed. What do you think?
No, I think well, first off, going back to Casey Andrews for a second.
Yep.
His response to the mental health thing was really good. It was really good. Like obviously saying that, it's the world has changed. It's normalized now that people can ask for help. And I like his comment when he said, the difference between mental health and dental health is the first letter, right? That's it. Like if you need dental health, you're gonna go see a doctor, right? So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Kevin Bennett, what I need to give him credit for is like he's so quick on the mic. Like you're right. He didn't really he ignored that guy's comment, but he kind of said, yeah, Jeff Hardy's my favorite wrestler, right? And then he's like, I'm not sure if that was the answer you're looking for, but he's like, that's what, and then he moved on. That was it. Like he didn't need to spend time. Like very, very quick. He's very, very smart guy. You can see it. Because he's so young and he's managing all the stuff, and just a very fun personality. Like, yeah, wrestlers are actors, we know this already, but some do it better than others, right? So I really appreciated the fact that he was able to interact with the audience. He came out kind of with his gimmick, kind of, hey, it's my time, like give me that mic kind of thing, but then he was normal. He was absolutely normal. I did every single question he was answering. Someone asked him, hey, what's gonna happen if you lose it? Oh no, how's it feel? This is gonna be your last match as the champion. And
your last
and
day.
he's like, yeah, no, I'm champion forever. So what are you talking about, right? So no, it's it was good. No, I enjoyed this Q&A with Bennett. He's a really cool guy.
Yep. No, absolutely. And what I love about stuff like this too is like actually getting to know the performers better. It increases your enjoyment of their matches and stuff too, right? So exactly. I mean, it just makes his whole heel shtick that much more admirable, shall we say?
Agreed.
Yep. So we went in then to the show, and it started off with Vikram Prashar, the Punjabi prodigy, coming to the ring. You guys, as far as I know, he's from Toronto, as far as I'm aware.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so he comes to the ring and he cuts a promo because he was supposed to face the driver, and the driver didn't make it there. And so he turns to the referee, Mr. Cody Ireland. He tells him, count the driver out. I want my victory. This is my match, So he's telling him, and he's getting him to count slowly because he wants to savor every moment of this victory, right? And the crowd's all yelling at him. And then Cody Ireland, the ref, stops. And he stops counting. And he says to him, listen, you want a match so badly, I'll fight you. And it turns out, Cody Ireland is in fact the Cody 45, former wrestler, now turned referee. And Vikram Prashar agrees to fight him. And they have quite the match. They go back and forth quite a bit. There was one spot where Cody ate a power bomb on the floor, and I mean, this was right in front of where Krishna and I were sitting, like within a couple feet of us. This power bomb happened. There are no mats on that floor.
Nope.
It is a hard floor, like concrete or stone or something, right? And you could hear his head bounce off the floor. Yeah. It was just like, Ow,
Was
dude,
not a
you are going to hurt in the just to back up on that comment. One thing I found very interesting, Kevin Bennett's interview too, is when he was talking about his car accident.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
And he went on about his car accident for a bit and he was talking about the pain. And he goes, it's not like wrestling, because wrestling, I'm sore every day from wrestling. And I'm like, whoa, like to just drop that out there. Like it never dawns on you. These guys are probably in pain
All the
a lot
time.
of the time. Yeah.
Sure.
Like the day after a match.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, any match. So yeah, I found that comment very enlightening as well. And then it kind of got me when I saw Cody 45 bounce off the mat, or off the floor. But anyway, Cody ends up winning this with an elbow drop off the top rope. He did quite a few moves. There was a "You still got it" chant at one point for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, good little match. What do you think?
Yeah, it was good. It was a good opener. You know, I guess it was supposed to be a squash match. Not really a squash match. It was supposed to be the driver's win, like because his debut as well. I don't even know who the driver looks like, anyways. Yeah, it was gonna be the driver's match. I did like the little twist, like I'll fight you. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect this. Like, I thought is this a joke?
Yeah.
Is this really a joke? Like, what's happening right now? But no, like Cody 45, he did mess up on one of the moves where he was trying to do like a I guess a cutter off of the middle rope. But I like the recovery. They tried it again, so that was actually kind of cool. So and the Punjabi Prodigy, like, you know what? He's young, right? Like
Yep.
he's doing his like Jinder Mahal shtick kind of thing going on right now.
A little bit. Yeah.
But you know, like he played the crowd. The crowd, they were booing him, they're yelling at him, like some stupid stuff as well. But you know what?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't care. He kept going. He kept going. I loved his like his low hanging fruit comment to the guy. He's like, "Yeah, I suck. That's not what your mom said last night, right?" And then the guy kept saying, "My mom. She said she's a decent, genuine woman. Leave her alone." I'm like,
And then
oh,
later on, when he
the
was talking about
fans.
was it being overrated or something, this
Yeah,
guy goes,
yeah,
"My mom says you're
you're
overrated,"
overrated.
something like that. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
But no, the match
it was
itself,
great.
it was a good like a fun opening match. Yeah, that smack in the back of his head sounded like it hurts. Hopefully it was like his hands that smacked the floor. The guy beside me was saying, "Oh, well, I think his hand smacked." I'm like, I hope that's the case because I don't know if like
Yeah,
his hand smacked or what. But yeah, overall, it was a fun little match. It did its thing. Nice little opening to the show.
yeah, oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and then we were off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
So the next match was for the Smash Wrestling Tag Team titles, and your champions are Books and Looks, Michael Grayson and Rodney Matthews, and they came out with Miley, their manager, valet, wrestler, and they're facing the Wonderboys. They're
Yep.
a team from Quebec of Dylan Donovan and Tann Pike. And to me this was a solid match. Now the Wonderboys, they are a semi high flying team. I'd say they've got a
Yes.
lot of energy. They move fast. I'd say that they're pretty much in the Krishna style of wrestling team.
Definitely.
Yep.
Definitely.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and this match was good. It started off a little bit slower. They spent a lot of time working over Michael Grayson books, the books of the Books and
The
Looks.
books.
Yeah, and it's funny because they the Books and Looks, they come out to the Spice Girls,
Yep.
right? They're like this super shiny, happy tag team. Um, and Michael Grayson plays kind of the nerd guy with the sweater, and Rodney Matthews is Look. So of course he's more of the who's the other guy
Griff Garrison.
in yeah, Griff Garrison. Thanks. He does look a little bit like
A
Griff
little bit. I
Garrison.
was
Yeah.
thinking like Griff Garrison. You're right.
Yeah. And so yeah, and the Wonderboys, they're such a good, it's kind of like that well-oiled double team, quick move tag team.
Yep.
And this was a good little match. They built it up really well too, right? Like they started off a little bit slower and they built as they went up to the hot tags to Books and Looks. They got a couple of those in that were really good. Rodney Matthews has some pretty decent explosive energy out of the corner. It was really entertaining watching them. Some really wicked looking double team moves, and Books and Looks finally wins it after a couple of attempts with their finisher. What do you
Yeah.
think?
No, this was actually a very good match. Is fast paced. I actually thought that like yeah, Brooks and Looks are the champions, but the stars in this match were the other team, the Wonder Boys. They were really good. High flying. Their tag team combos I thought landed better than Brooks and Looks is, right? Very, very young team. You can tell how young these guys are, playing up the crowd and stuff like that. They knew they were the bad guys, obviously, coming into here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was fun. Like I mean, some of the moves were like hard. I was like, holy crap! Like, it's funny. You're right. It's like the Brooks and looks. Brooks is the nerdy
Books,
guy. Books, it's Books, right?
books, and
Books. Yeah,
looks.
yeah. Books is like the nerdy guy in his like his sweater vest and his tie and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
so odd. But yeah, no, I like this match. Obviously, this match was way better than the first match, because it
Hmm.
was it was planned out a bit better. Um, at the end, Books and Looks they retained their championships. But if they had lost, I would be like I wouldn't be upset. I think the other guys kind of deserved it if they had won. So no, it was a good match.
Hmm. Right. Well, I think it would have been too soon to take the tag titles off. And
Yeah,
my understanding is they just got them from Halal Beefcake
that's
two
right.
months
Because
ago.
Halal Beefcake were the champions last
Yeah,
time we
they
went
won them in
there.
London, I think, on the show that was in London. Because they were
Halal
fighting
Beefcake.
they were fighting Books and Looks in London the day after they fought at the event we went to last time.
Got it. Got it. Got
Yep.
it. Got it. Makes
So
sense.
they retained their titles and are continuing to be the Smash Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Though I would love to see a rematch between them and the Wonder Boys. In fact, I'd love to see the Wonder Boys doing almost anything.
Yeah,
They're
they were
very
really good.
good.
They're
Yeah.
really good.
Yep. Next up, we had Jody Threat taking on Impact's Taylor Wilde. This was kind of what you expected from Jody Threat. You know, she
Yeah.
comes out, she's just full of energy. She's like an out of control punk rock girl, essentially, right? And it's just so she plays that part to a T, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just always high energy, always like running, kind of perplexed when things don't go her way,
Yep.
right? And Taylor Wilde played the, slower paced, um, cocky, arrogant, plays up herself kind of heel role. She choked Jody Threat on all four ropes around the ring at one point. The little chokey. And her poses, the way that she was like, just her facial expressions. She had the character down really,
Oh
really
yeah, she
well.
was awesome.
Yeah, and her wrestling was quite good as well.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mm-hmm.
wrestled like a good, more of a slower heel pace to her wrestling as well,
Right.
like trying to dismember Jody Threat a bit. But what that did was when Jody Threat does her comeback, she looks so fast and just like it's so good watching the comeback at that point too, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Jody Threat ended up winning the match with her airplane spin power bomb, which looks pretty damn hard. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I thought Taylor Wilde was the highlight of it for me.
Yeah.
I've seen Jody Threat at least once now, so yeah, she's good too. I think she plays her role well,
Mm-hmm.
and she's a solid wrestler with solid striking ability, and I think that plays off well against a like she's really good at wrestling the kind of like arrogant heels.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, like, I thought Wild was the highlight of this match. I thought the way she played off the heel, and so arrogant, kind of like Nikita, from last show we went to, um, and her moves were just like everything worked, even though it was a bit slower. I didn't mind that. I actually didn't mind
Mhm.
that it slowed down a bit, because the thing about Threat is that yeah, I get it. I get her gimmick. I totally get it. I get it. But sometimes it's like she reminds me of the Ultimate Warrior, where she just like comes out all the energy, and
Yeah.
then like she gets beaten down, and then she comes back, and I'm like,
Yep.
I've seen these things before, right? So I'm
Hmm.
like, you're good, you're good, right? But like I have to give credit where credit's due. I think Wild stole the show here,
Oh yeah.
right? The way she played it. So this was a good match. Like I didn't obviously I didn't think like as much as I did really like enjoy this match. I didn't think it was is as good as the second match, the tag match. But that's
Hmm.
because that has a lot more of my style of wrestling
Oh
as
yeah.
well there too. But I did appreciate the fact that it slowed down and
Hmm.
this and what they were telling to the point where I was like, is Jody Threat gonna lose this match? Like I thought she was gonna lose it at one point, but
Yeah.
she didn't. So
No.
yeah, no, it was a good match.
Yeah, no, I like again, I enjoyed it. You're
Mhm.
right. Taylor Wilde stole the show on this one. I
Yeah.
thought she was really good. She impressed me a lot. I would be a Taylor Wilde fan now. So Nikita got me in the first one. Taylor Wilde. So apparently Jody Threat is the let's make Bill and Krishna like the opposing
The other
wrestler.
people. Yeah.
Your comparison with the Ultimate Warriors is interesting though. Jody Threat, I'll give Jody Threat this credit. One,
Mhm.
she can actually wrestle. Two, she doesn't blow up after she runs into the
That's
ring.
true.
Yes,
That's very
she's
true.
able to maintain that level. So, I mean, yes, she may have a bit of that craziness to her, but I think it works really well against these kinds of heels too.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yep. So then we go to the last match of the first half, and we get the 5-way match: Vaughn Vertigo versus Toronto's John Greed versus Bryce Hansen versus Kevin Bennett. And and then replacing Jake something, we had Carter Mason, the King of the North, coming out in what was definitely not his wrestling gear. He had on looked like an old t-shirt, pair of track pants. I'm pretty sure that's not what he normally wears to the ring. But apparently he was a very quick substitute for Jake something. So, but the match starts off with Carter Mason actually cutting a promo, and people were yelling at him so loud you could barely hear what he was saying. But it was basically the unappreciated promo, and I don't think anything he said was necessarily wrong. He said,
No.
every time Smash needs someone, I'm here. Every time something happens, I'm the guy they call. I'm in here all the time. I give my all. Blah blah blah, and people just kept booing him anyway. But I don't think he's wrong. I
Nope,
like
definitely
Carter
not wrong.
Mason. Unfortunately, at the end of his promo, he then turned around and ate, I believe it was a boot for Mr. John Greed, who then pins him for 3, and Carter Mason was immediate. This was an elimination 5-way, by the way.
Yes.
So Carter Mason was eliminated from the match. Now the match begins, and Kevin Bennett, he came out with his crew. These 2 guys that kind of come with him. They look more like a posse from like a rap group or something like that. So they came out with him, and immediately Kevin Bennett goes, guys, we don't even need to be in the ring right now. Let's just go to the bar. And they literally walk up the stairs to the bar in the area, and they're just going to go hang at the bar. Vaughn Vertigo and Bryce Hansen, though, get kind of incensed by this, and they eventually go after him and bring him back. But he really doesn't get involved in the match much for quite a long time. Nope. You get a lot between Vaughn Vertigo, John Greed, and Bryce Hansen in the ring, and every time there's kind of a moment, John Greed ends up eliminating one of the smaller guys, because John Greed's a big guy, but he's a big guy that hits his moves really well, and is not necessarily, he acts slow, but he's not slow. He's not slow. You know what I mean? Like he's good that way. So I think he eliminated Vaughn Vertigo first.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Well, yes, you're right. He did Vertigo first. Yeah.
Yes, I knew that because the guy sitting next to me was a huge Vaughn Vertigo fan, and he booed relentlessly when Vaughn Vertigo was eliminated. So, yes, and then Bryce Hansen was eliminated shortly thereafter, and that left John Greed taking on Kevin Bennett, but Kevin Bennett just keeps sending his stooges in, and eventually, due to some interference, he wins the match. Some highlights out of it: John Greed, I thought, had a big show. That package Liger bomb he gave to Vaughn, was it Vaughn Vertigo he eliminated with that? I mean that yeah, that was hardcore. And there was a couple moments too, he got eliminated. He was lying at our feet at one point dead.
Yes.
after he got thrown out. I forget exactly how that happened, but yeah, it was.
I think they threw him into the it was the Stooges. They threw him into the ring post.
Yeah, the 2 of them took him and winged him into the ring post, and he fell in front of us, right? So yeah, no, I was impressed with John Greed because he played his role really well, and this is sort of like the bottom for a bunch of these guys that were like coming at him. So that was really good. And of course, Kevin Bennett wins the match, but had to do it through a whole bunch of interference. Then Kevin Bennett cuts a promo after talking about how he, as always, does everything by himself.
Yep.
And so he's going to go on tomorrow and defend his championship. So that would be today in London. Good luck, Kevin Bennett. We want you to keep that title.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty good match. When Bennett went to the actual bar, I was like, what the hell? And they actually had to go get him because he was there. I'm like, well, it's not a disqualification, so I mean, he can go do what he wants. I thought Vertigo, actually, I was shocked that Vertigo got eliminated so quickly. I thought he was gonna be there a lot longer. You're right. I think this was more of a showing for Greed. I think he's basically wrestling everyone, like his little Tower of Doom spot where he picked up both the Stooges at the same time and gave the fallaway slam and then the back slam to the next one. That was pretty cool. Bennett obviously like the low blow to win the match, and then he cuts the promo. I don't need anybody. I do all this myself. I'm like, perfect. That's so cool. Like you're playing it up, and I love this heel persona of yours. And then of course he made fun of the idiots in Toronto that he had that Q&A with, and made us think that he was such a nice guy. Right? And he's like, wait, I did a promo. No, I did a meet and greet earlier, and I had all these idiots in Toronto fooled. I'm like, this
Yep.
guy's awesome. This guy is absolutely awesome. But
Yep.
yeah, no.
Exactly.
Kevin Bennett, you've gained a fan. You're cool, man. And this match was good. This match, like you had people doing what they needed to do. Like I thought that the Greed versus the other guy that I keep calling Brian Pillman, that guy there,
Bryce Hansen.
yeah, like I think Bryce Hansen, this was like for him to like, show what he can do, and he did a
Yeah.
good job against Greed. Like he was faster, obviously trying to go after Greed's like legs, stuff like that. But at the end, obviously, didn't work.
Yeah, him and Vaughn Vertigo are both quite good. I like them a lot. We've seen Vaughn Vertigo before, and
Oh
he
yeah,
had that match against the two big guys the last
against
time
Greed
and
and
won
the
the
other guy.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. John
So
Greed and it was a good match.
So yeah, so this was a good match. I enjoyed this match, and the right person won. That's it.
Yep, exactly. I can't disagree. You know who he kind of reminds me of a bit? Chris Jericho, like an early Chris Jericho.
The who
His promos, Bennett.
oh yeah. No, you're right. A
Yep.
little bit, yeah.
Yep. So then we had the intermission, and after the intermission, we get a video segment in which we have a monk who leads someone with biscuits behind a thing, but it's all a ruse. And it's actually Charles Crowley, and he makes fun of Canadians for being so silly as to fall for the biscuit ruse, and he's coming to get Psycho Mike, which he does. So he comes out, Psycho Mike comes out. This is, of course, our comedy match of the night. And it starts off with Charles Crowley. His ribs are still wrapped in tape because he said that the body slam he received from Psycho Mike 4 months ago, he's still injured. And Psycho Mike is doubting this. So Charles Crowley calls out a bunch of other people that he has injured with his body slam. We get a lineup of like all these wrestlers from the back standing there all holding their ribs, and including John Greed's children. and that was like when Charles Crowley was like, you even injured children with your body slam. So Psycho Mike is like, okay, I can't body slam, and he's really distraught by this, and so he's going to start using a safer alternative. And so he does a spot in matches, for those of you who don't know, where he's like, because his finishing move is the body slam. And he usually calls out in his matches, who wants to see a body slam? Well, in this case, he called it, who wants to see a safer alternative? Which was pretty funny into it of itself. And then it turns out his safer alternative is in fact the burning hammer. So he spends the match asking for the burning hammer, and he had a good match with Charles Crowley. They went back and forth. They had some comedy bits, but their wrestling was really good too, right? Like they went outside. Psycho Mike finally hits the burning hammer on Charles Crowley, but only gets a 2 count. And so the crowd starts yelling at him to use the body slam, which he does, and he gets the 3 count on Charles Crowley. But good little match. They went, like I said, back and forth a lot. There was some like higher moves. They wrestled outside the ring a bit. It was some solid stuff. What do you think?
Crowley really impressed me in this match. I hadn't heard of him before. But like he's a very, very, very good wrestler. I like his little gimmick he has. And setting him up with Psycho Mike, this is perfect. Like these two just going at it. Like it's again the comedy match, but it's done so well. Like Psycho Mike knows exactly who he is, and my assumption is the reason why he hasn't gone on to like bigger shows and stuff like that, because people will be like, "Oh, he's ruining kayfabe," or whatever you want to say, right? But it's so funny, it's so good. He has the crowd behind him. Like, who would have thought people would be like cheering for a body slam? That would be someone's finisher. It's absolutely insane, but it's so much fun. And his safer alternative, the burning hammer. And there was one part where he had Crowley on the stage and he set up chairs and was about to smash Crowley on the chairs, but it gets reversed and Crowley starts beating him up. But as Crowley beats him up, he ends up giving the chairs back to the people he took the chairs from in the first place. I'm like, I'm like, perfect spot. This guy knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah, no, this was a fun match. Like this is my most entertaining match of the night. It was so much fun. Like my Psycho Mike is so cool. And yeah, I would love to see him in the big leagues, but I'm just trying to figure out where he would fit, right? So
yeah,
like I mean, he does so well here.
Yep, no, absolutely. He's definitely got that comedy wrestling thing going on, but he's a good wrestler.
He's an awesome wrestler, yeah.
And we know some other good wrestlers that also have comedy gimmicks, but when the time comes, they turn on the wrestling, namely a Mr. Orange Cassidy, right? So I think that in some wrestling leagues, comedy shticks can be Danhausen has a place. And dude, that guy's grown on me.
Yeah.
So, I
Yep.
mean, Daniel
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson.
Daniel Bryan Anderson. Yeah, exactly. Danhausen's awesome. And that's that. And
Yeah.
Danhausen, who barely wrestles, but he fits.
Mhm.
He fits what he does, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, no, and look, I love Psycho Mike, and you're right, Charles Crowley. What a showing! This guy
What a
can
showing. This guy's
wrestle, man. I
awesome.
mean,
Yeah.
he's got the personality now
Mm-hmm.
for it. Perfect kind of opponent for Psycho Mike. Man, no, I loved this match. You're right. In terms of sheer entertainment value, definitely the
So
best match
good.
of the night. Yeah,
So good.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It was so entertaining. I laughed my ass off. It was great, and the wrestling, like I said, I laughed my ass off and got some great wrestling.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah.
Agreed.
Speaking of great wrestling, we then get Shigehiro Irie taking on Shane Sabre. Now, Shigehiro he is from Japan, of course. He's with DDT Wrestling, as far as I'm aware, right now. He's a member of the Strong Hearts, and Shane Sabre is Toronto's own Shane Sabre. And they had a match. They shook hands to begin it, and this was a hard hitting match. Shige did an awful lot of strong style type stuff, including a comeback, some of the shots he gave, cannonballs. I mean, he won the match with just a destruction lariat, like a lariat that would have done Hangman proud.
Yep.
After a cannonball against the ropes, there was that burning hammer into the buckle at one point, that avalanche fallaway slam that Sabre hit on Irie. It was a lot of hard hitting stuff, a lot of good moves. Really fun match to watch. These guys basically like just destroyed each other for a good solid however many minutes this went. I would guess about 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this match was actually really great. I think it was one of the most, I guess, technically sound matches that was on the show itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's it was it was like the hard hitting, like strong style, right? Part of the Strong Hearts, this guy, right? And I was actually impressed with Sabre, because I've never heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
A Toronto wrestler, but he was very, like, first of all, he looked like Daniel Bryan. Okay, let's just call out the elephant in the room here. He's wearing his red trunks, his like dark brown hair, and his big beard. I'm like, are you Daniel Bryan? What's going on here right now? Is this who you are? But he wrestled very well. Like, he had some
Mm-hmm.
comebacks. Like, he took. As I said, I turned to you and I'm like, how do you block that rolling bomb he does that he does at the corner? I'm like, I don't
The
know.
cannonball?
The
Yeah.
cannonball. Like, how do you block that? I don't even know. But no, I had so much fun. This match was actually shockingly, I didn't expect it to be that good, but I understand why they put it before the main event, because it was a really 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 good match.
Mm-hmm.
Really great showing on both these guys. And the crowd got into it afterwards. Like, it was a slow build for the crowd because they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of watching, but by the end, like, they were cheering on both these guys. So yeah, no, I had a lot of fun in this match.
Yeah, and they ended it with a good respect spot too, which was very cool. Yeah, no, this was an absolutely phenomenal match. I enjoyed it a lot. Just hard hitting. It was my kind of wrestling,
Yep.
like technically sound, just enough high flying to make it fun, but just two guys going in there making it look like they're absolutely kicking the living
Yep.
crud out of each other. I would love to see these guys go at it again. Um, you know, it just makes me want to go to Japan and go to all the wrestling shows. So yeah, no, this was absolutely great. I'm really impressed with Shane Sabre.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Agreed.
good wrestler. I want to see more of him for sure. So yeah, and a Toronto boy. I love these Toronto boys who are great
It's
wrestlers.
Toronto
It's good
boys.
to see.
Agreed.
So yeah, no, this is like if I had to pick a match of the night, this
Mm-hmm.
might even be it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the most entertaining, but in terms of wrestling, I really enjoyed this match. So
It was very very well done. I
yes.
can't disagree there.
Yep. And then that takes us to our main event where we had Tabernak de Team, who is Mathieu Saint Jacques and Thomas Dubois, taking on Drago and Aerostar, who are both from Triple A. They are, of course, luchadors from Triple A, and this match, it was quite good. The Tabernak de Team, these are big boys.
Mm-hmm.
They do kind of a bit of a, they're both in plaid shirts. They're a bit of a, Quebec lumberjack types, I guess. Strong, really good wrestlers. Their stuff looks like it kills people. And I think they had the perfect opponents into much smaller luchadors because my God, did they kill them for chunks of this match? lots of things like double DDT spots, and like they can move too. Like they're not slow guys for their
Mhm.
size. And I was really impressed with Tabernak, the team. I can see why, they're definitely fan favorites that were there. There were a lot of people cheering for them in this match. And yeah, I can see why. They are a very solid team. Um, and Drago and Aerostar, like they had a good few little lucha spots in this match, right? We saw a few more lucha moves. It wasn't bad.
Mhm.
I think I was probably more impressed with Tabernak, the team who
Mhm.
actually wins the match, which
Mhm.
also surprised, I believe, both Krishna and myself,
Mhm.
because we thought they're bringing these guys from Triple A, they're probably going to win. No, Tabernacle team went over. So I actually thought that was pretty classy because it's almost like a territory thing, right? You bring
Mhm.
in these tough outsiders, and yeah, by the end of it, hey, the hometown boys, well, sort of hometown, they're from Quebec, but close enough. They're Canadians. They win. So yeah, I enjoyed this match a lot. I was, like I said, really impressed with Tabernacle team. I want to see more of them wrestle now. I would like to see them against the Wonderboys. I
Mhm.
think that would be a great match. But anyway, what do you think of this match?
No, this match was great. I mean, like the the Lucha guys, so Drago and Aerostar, they did Lucha things, but not as much as I expected them to do. I thought
Right.
they'd do a lot more. Tabernac really did show more in this match, right? Than I thought they would. Very impressive, big for big guys. Like they did show their strength, that they were catching the luchadors off the top rope and stuff like that. It was like reversing a lot of their moves. Yes, I think the ending shocked me. I was like, wait, they won! Holy crap! They actually pinned them. So I think that was a bit of a surprise. I mean, again, this match was fun. I very much enjoyed it as well.
Mhm.
But thinking back to the previous one, like I think the match before that was a better match in general. But this was like a cool way to close out the show. Like again, the show of respect, challenging them for another match, right?
Mhm.
And stuff like that. Yeah, building up a little bit of a rivalry here. I
Mhm.
thought was kind of cool. So yeah, no, this was a really good closing to the show.
Yep. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed it. It was a good match. I had a
Mhm.
lot of fun watching it. There
Mhm.
were some really crazy spots in it. There was that the dives to the ropes. There was
Yeah.
the big the avalanche spot with no Tower of Doom spot in
Mhm.
the corner, which was just great. Yeah, so there were some really good moments in this match too that I thought were a lot of fun. And again, they all highlighted Tabernacle team's strengths too, right? And just it's another team I'd like to see more of. I think that's what I like about yeah. So I think if I'm going to go to match of the night, I would have to say second last match, Irie versus oh my god, Irie versus Shane Sabre, and that would have to be my technical match of the night. Entertaining match of the night would be Psycho Mike taking on Charles Crowley, no doubt.
Mhm.
Um, but there wasn't a bad match on this card.
No.
I had fun with every single match on this card, right? I mean, the wrestling that we get at these events is outstanding. There are
Yeah.
so many good local indie wrestlers in like Ontario. Kevin Bennett's from Buffalo, right? I
Mhm.
mean, Quebec. Most of these guys were from Ontario or Quebec,
Yeah.
you know, and so good. Right. And then Charles Crowley from England. And we've got like I said, Kevin Bennett's from Buffalo. And then we got the luchadors from Mexico,
Yep.
Drago and Aerostar. So, so we had a little bit of international flavor, but mostly homegrown local talent.
Yeah.
And
Fair enough.
damn guys, damn.
Yeah. No, it was a great show. It was fun. It went at a breakneck speed. Like it was just match after match after match. And the time just flew. Absolutely flew by. And we were so close, obviously, that we were getting into the action as well. Because at one point, Drago unfortunately ran his back right into my kneecap. Um,
How's your kneecap?
I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I felt bad because I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to
Yeah.
hurt this guy because like he's running right
Yeah.
back first into my knee. So yeah, that was kind of funny, but yeah, no, it was a great show.
Yep. Yeah, no, we had a lot of fun. Highly recommended. Their next show in the Toronto area will be on March 25th. I cannot remember the name of the show off the top of my head, but it is at March 25th. It's at a different venue this
Yeah.
time. It is at an arena in the west half of Etobicoke, kind of
Hmm.
southwest part of Etobicoke. Not too far, I would guess, from Dixie Outlet Mall, kind of southeast of 427 and the QE for those of you in the Toronto area or slightly abroad. But I would recommend any of you who are listening to us from this area, check it out. get tickets. It is definitely well worth it. Krishna and I will be there. Hopefully he's going to convince Sam to come with us this time.
Yeah, maybe.
Did you have any luck on that?
I told him, I said to come by. I come. He asked about tickets, and they're like, yeah, tickets are really, really good. I'm like, yeah, you guys might enjoy the show. So yeah, I told to bring his kids, and we can go. So I told him let me know, and
Yep.
we'll get tickets.
Yep. Sounds like a plan. So yeah, anyway, that is our review of Smash Wrestling's Any Given Saturday.
Nice.
Yep. And as always, we will be back tomorrow with our usual weekly news show where we're going to talk about the news. We're going to look at some matches that we both thought were good for people to check out in the week as we continue to help you find the quality wrestling that's out there. And we will be back on Wednesday night as well, Thursday morning with our, well, it's Wednesday night that we get that up now. So yeah, Wednesday night with our review of our weekly review of AEW Dynamite from that night. So please feel free to check that out. And as always, if you like what you hear, give us that 5-star review. You know, they all help us out. Give us some comments. Give us anything that you think is that we're worth, shall we put it that way. Give us that that like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. Anything helps us keep this podcast, keep our little organization here going. So we appreciate all the support. But for now, it is time to go. And as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah! And good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.